What's up, guys? It's Seawolf. I'm going to be doing a review and showing you guys this Vanquest pouch that I packed with what I feel like makes a mini bug out bag, or the I'm lost bag as I call it. So let's go to the white table and check it out. Today I want to do a video on this pack. I'm really excited about it. It's something I've been working on for a while. It's a pretty expensive pack, but I feel like it includes a lot of really high-end gear that if you needed it, you'd be very glad that you had it. So this may be a longer video. It's going over lots of aspects of this pack and why would you want this pack. This pack was made for somebody who wants a pretty much all-inclusive pack for kind of urban emergency situations, like if you broke down on the side of the road and had to walk or something like that, or if you were in between national parks or something and there's very low amount of resources in between the parks. Or if you go to a national park, you're doing a day hike or something and just wandered around and got lost. This pack hits everything from some urban situations all the way to your wilderness and bug out survival kind of stuff. So let's get right into it. This is a Vanquest 7x10 fat pack. It's the Generation 2. It's not the Maximizer one, the one that has all the little loops. This one's a lot more freeform what you can put inside. So let's go talk about the outside of this thing. If I had to guess, I'm not sure exactly how much it weighs, but it's pushing 7 to 10 pounds. On the outside, what we have is some mace right here, and I say mace, it's Sabre, but basically pepper spray. The reason we have this is if you broke down on the side of the road and you wanted a non-lethal option just to get somebody off of you, you've broken down and somebody's starting to get aggressive or something. I put this on the outside so that it can be quick to get to. You've got this little button you can press, very easy to get to. You just push on it and it allows this to pop off basically. So you can pull this off, move the safety, press it, and then get that person off of you and get away. Also, for multiple reasons, a lot of things in this pack are multi-use, multi-purpose items. This is a bright orange so that if you did drop this in the woods, you could see it pretty easily due to this bright orange whistle. This is a storm whistle. It's marketed as the loudest whistle in the world, and you could use it for signaling in an emergency situation if you had gotten lost and you can tell people are far away, because the human voice can only carry so far. This is an incredibly loud whistle that you could signal somebody down with, or if you were in an urban environment, and someone was getting aggressive, or some situation where you're around enough people, if you blew on this, it's definitely going to get some attention. Also on the outside, we have a Sharpie. These things are good for tons of things. If you need to leave a note, something more permanent, you need to draw out landscapes, something like that for navigation or just remembering something, you can use a Sharpie. Also on the outside, and I'll pull it out in a second, it's a little hard to get to with everything packed in, but if you had to, you could, in an emergency, is a tourniquet down in here. Let me get it out. You just turn your hand around, it takes a little practice, pinch it, pull it out. So it's a SWAT T tourniquet, so if you were bleeding pretty hard, and basically just pull this puppy out and you'll be able to take care of a pretty serious wound. This is the only real trauma addressing type of medical equipment that I put in this pack, and it's on the outside just in case something had happened. You could pull this out, tear it open, use it. Also on the outside is a Leatherman with a Molly pouch, and we've got a Leatherman Surge in there. You guys know the Surge. It's an extremely high-end, very robust Leatherman. You could use that for urban situations, if you were fishing, pulling a hook out of a fish's mouth, multiple things. So let's get right into the pack. This thing's pretty new. These YKK zippers get much easier to unzip with time. So when you open it, one of the nice things about this pouch is you can really see everything when you open it. It's very visible. You've got the orange on the back, so it makes it easy to see stuff. It's big enough to where you can really put everything in here and get good visibility to what's in front of you and not have to be rambling around trying to find stuff. So let's go ahead and start going through some of these items. So right here, we've got 2 emergency blankets. These are the Swiss Safe. It's 90% of your body heat reflective. It's non-toxic, reusable. It's waterproof and windproof. So this you could use for shelter as well as trying to stay warm. I've got 2 of those in here. Trying to remember the size. It's 52 inches by 82 inches. So you got 2 of those, one for yourself, one for somebody else, or you can make a shelter for it and then wrap up in the other to stay warm. We've got 2 of the bit sets for the Leatherman. If you're in a situation where you need to work on something mechanical or get into something, or any situation really where you can't supplement a piece of wood or rock for and you really need a precision tool, that's what these Leatherman bits are for. We also have some dude wipes in here. They're 100% biodegradable, so you can chunk them in the woods if you're hiking or day hiking, something like that, and they'll go away. And they're basically for wiping your butt, so you don't have to have an itchy butt walking around in the woods or in an emergency situation. You could also wipe yourself down. You know, general hygiene's a great morale booster, so that's what these are for. We got 4 of those, and they're about this big. They're probably 5 by 7, 5 by 8. Several zip ties. I believe this is about 10 reusable zip ties. Zip ties have about 1 million uses. You could lash these to, like, basically stack these together and make a massive zip tie for tying something up. You could use it for making your shelter much easier. It has tons and tons of uses. These things are really good, and I kind of put them in that cordage category. We'll get into the med pouch later. Right here you have an orange bandana. The bandana is 100% cotton, so you can use it inside of a tin like we have right here and right here, and put it in a fire and make some char cloth. You can use it as something to keep the sun off your neck a little bit. You can wet it, use it for hygiene, things like that. The orange is also going to be very useful for signaling. So this is about a 3x3, sorry, not 3x3, it's about probably 18 inches by 18 inches, and you could use it for signaling. We also have a signaling mirror right here. I'm not going to tear the film off because it keeps it nice and shiny. But this is an SOS signaling mirror. This thing's super robust. It also has instructions on the back for exactly how to use it, just in case you're not thinking straight and can't remember, you know, how to use it. It's made in the US. Very good for trying to signal someone down if you're trying to get a plane or a boat or whatever. Also, another use for this is hygiene, or, you know, if you medical uses. If you cut your face and just need to see your face to address something, you can use this. Got a pencil in here for the Write in the Rain pad, you'll see in a second. Pencil's supposed to not come off of the Write in the Rain pads, and it's also nice to have an eraser so that if you had a pen and you write on it and you kind of wasted that page, but having a pencil, you can, you know, erase it and continue to use it. Then there's probably a couple feet of Gorilla Tape wrapped around this. Duct tape has 1 million uses, you know, or Gorilla Tape, either one. In a bad situation, you could use this for putting on a wound, closing up a pretty bad, you know, scratch or cut, and you could use it for patching up your gear. Then we have a sewing kit or repair kit. That's for just repairing your gear. You could use the needles for multiple things. If you tear your clothes, tear this pack, whatever, it's just nice to have this. It's super lightweight. Then you have a fire kit, which we'll get into in just a second. A survival fishing kit. There's another video you guys can watch on me opening this and showing what I was inside, but in general it's got bobbers, hooks, lures, about 100 feet of fishing line, 50 feet of 2 different weights. But this is a great little kit. It's a little bit larger than I thought it'd be, but I think it'd be worth it if you were somewhere around streams and stuff like that to get food. We've also got a stream light right here, Stylus Pro. Very, very good light. It's supposed to stay, it's supposed to function for about 6.5 hours on 2 AAA batteries, and I've included 4 AAA batteries in here, so this will basically get you, you know, 24 hours ish, probably a little more because I think this runs for 6.5 hours. But around 25.5 hours of usage. So light's extremely important. We take it for granted in the civilized world, but if you got lost in the woods, light is incredibly important. So several hours of light out of this bad boy. Moving to the side, we've got some Titan cord. This Titan cord, this is probably about 20 feet of Titan cord. Reason this stuff is good is it has multiple uses. It has, trying to get to the end so you guys can see, and I'll do a separate video on this because I may forget one of the uses, but right here you can see it has fire tinder in it, fishing line, several things of paracord. Just you could pull those out and tie them together and use them as cordage. And then you also have like a copper, maybe brass wire that you can use for snares. So that's super useful stuff. It's more than just paracord. Then we have our Sawyer Mini. Everybody's familiar with these things. They filter like, I can't remember, I think it's like 100,000 gallons of water when maintained. And this is going to keep all the bacteria out of your drinking water, make sure you don't get sick. In North America, it's very uncommon to find viruses in our water, from what I understand. So this should handle pretty much any need you have for that. Behind it, we have the reservoir for putting the water in to shoot through this thing. We also have a Sunto compass for obvious reasons, you know, trying to get direction and navigation. It's got a glow in the dark bezel on it, as well as the needle. And then we have a magnifying glass for reading maps, and then you could also use it for starting fires if you needed to. We also have 2 glow sticks for signaling somebody down if you had broken down on the side of the road or something like that, or you just needed some long-term light, you know, at night. These things last like 12 hours. Online it said they were weather or military grade, I believe, but who knows. But long story short, they last about 12 hours. So you got another 24 hours of light right here. We've got a light my fire still with a striker and a whistle. So you've got a secondary whistle right here. You've got the primary one on the outside, and then here's another one. This will be something that you'd want to keep on you at all times. This is going to start a lot of fires, a lot more fires than a lighter will. And it's also glow in the dark, which I doubt I can show on camera, but this is glow in the dark. So if you dropped it, you could get it, because this is one of the most important pieces of gear in this kit. We also have about 20 liters, 25 liters possibly. I'm trying to remember the math, but it's about 25 liters of water purification tablets. And then I also have the little tablets just to make it taste a little better. This is not necessary, but you know, if you're having to use this iodine, then you may want something just to make it taste a little bit better. So 2 of those. So that's a secondary water purification, because water is behind, you know, keeping your core body temperature. Water is the next most important resource in my mind. That's all on that side. Then on this side we have a little charger cord, because it doesn't fit in this pack, but we have a power brick that you would put in your backpack, because having power for your phone is not 100% necessary, but it is something nice to have. Reaching on back behind here, we have our 3rd water purification source, which is going to be these potable aqua, I believe it's hydrogen chloride tablets. These will kill viruses if you're in a super questionable area where you think there may be viruses in the water. You could use these to purify the water from viruses. Obviously, you can also boil water. In a super serious pinch, you could use these tins to boil water, which kills viruses and bacteria. But this is really the 3rd source of purifying water. And like I said, you've got a 4th kind of iffy source of boiling water in these. That would be like a last ditch effort. Then we've also got back behind here a map of the United States. This is more on the kind of bug out side of things, where if for some reason you've lost your phone or you don't have your phone and you don't have a way to recharge your phone, it's just nice to have a physical map. You know, if you get lost, this thing is going to be worth its weight in gold. And some of the writing on here is small, which is what that compass has that magnifying glass for. We also have a Write in the Rain pad. This pad you guys are very familiar with, I'm sure, but basically you write on this, and as long as you write in pencil or like a normal ballpoint pen, then when it gets wet, it can't come off. And finally, down in here, inside this primary pack, before we get into the med pack and the fire kit, is a contractor's bag. This is going to be your main way of a shelter to keep the sun off of you, to not really going to keep you warm, I wouldn't say. It might block you from some wind, but it'll keep you dry. So this thing is great to have. You could also use this to carry some water in. So right here is our little fire kit. What we have in here is several ways to get a fire going. You've got your match striker glued to the top. Just a little cotton face makeup remover. You can pull and tear on this and use this to get a fire started several times using your flint and steel, or your fire steel. We got some Tinder Quicks, tons of these things. I think they burn like 45 seconds, so this is tons of fires. We got some Yuko stormproof matches. These are waterproof and windproof. Several of these things in here. And then just your standard Bic lighter. You notice the Bic lighter is orange. That way if you drop it again, fire is incredibly important. That way you could find it if you did drop it on the ground. And then like I said, you can use this Altoids can to make char cloth by cutting up some of your bandana, putting it in here, popping this thing on fire. And then finally, an incredibly important part of this kit also is this removable, which is super cool on Vanquest part, removable med pouch. So let's go into this med pouch. I feel like this is incredibly important because if you're disoriented or you're having stomach problems or getting sick or something like that, it doesn't really matter how much of this gear you have if you're feeling nasty. This right here is going to help you in those kind of situations. So we've got some medical tape for obvious reasons. You know, if you get hurt, you can use this along with some gauze to wrap up and get that thing taken care of. We've got some emergency, several band-aids just for like ouches and boo-boos, you know. Some Imodium. So Imodium is useful if for some strange reason your water was compromised, even though we've taken a lot of measures to make sure that doesn't happen. If your water was compromised and you got dysentery or started really losing a lot of water from like stomach sickness and basically just crapping all the time, you could use this Imodium to stop yourself up. And each one of these little bags, we just wrote the instructions for it, basically, and when to use it. Then you've got some X-Lax for the reverse. That's to keep stuff in. This will get stuff out, you know, if you're constipated. Cortisone 10, you know, for itching, stuff like that. Some off-brand Neosporin. This is good for if you're getting cuts and stuff in the woods. You know, you could get infected. This right here is going to help that not happen. Then we got some eye drops. If you get something in your eye and you're having to walk around all day, that's going to be rough. So I put some eye drops in here just so that you could get some debris or anything like that out of your eye. Some more Band-Aids. We've got some Benadryl. You know, Benadryl has like a million uses, antihistamines. So this is nice. If you get a bug sting or multiple things, Benadryl is good to have. And this is a pretty decent amount. Also got some just good old Tylenol for aches and pains, just kind of keep your morale up if you're starting to get headaches and stuff. Again with Imodium. You probably don't want to take all of this. This is a lot of Imodium. Then we've got some rolled gauze right here. for a little bit more serious of a wound. And like I said, we have that tourniquet also, but if you need to do some sort of compression bandage, you could use this. And then finally, you have tons of gauze for, again, just some scrapes, or if you maybe tripped and fell and scraped your knee up pretty bad, you could use this. Forgot to say, you guys, some of the things I would supplement this pack with is a SAS survival guide. That way you've got some knowledge. You know, you'd want to put that in the pack that this goes in, as well as like one of those little miniature Bibles, because if your morale's getting low, Christ can really help you through that situation for sure. And the last thing is, I was not able to fit in the plunger for cleaning this Sawyer. So it's in a survival situation, you know, hopefully you're not out there a ton of time, so that plunger is really for extending the life of this. But just for the space, it was very difficult to put in there, and you might could blow back through it with your mouth, I'm not sure. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know that may make this kit a little bit more complete. If the bag you put this in, you put in a Bible, one of those SAS books, and your plunger for the Sawyer. Again, thanks guys, subscribe.